me share with you a little bit of an incident or an opportunity I had to meet Lakshmi Narayan Tripathi. She's a transgender and represents. She has spoken at UN, on transgender rights. And when I met her and I was talking to her, it was quite a moving experience for me, because till such time, this was a couple of years back, transgenders could not buy property, they could not do schooling, most of them. They could not vote, they could not have a bank account. So I was just wondering, after meeting her, what would I be if I didn't have a car, if I didn't have a house, if I didn't have a bank account, I didn't have a political orientation. I wouldn't know whether I'm a male or a female. So who would I be? Do I have an identity which is beyond my car, which is beyond the house I live in, which is beyond the money I have, beyond the education I have, beyond the car I drive, beyond the gender I have? What is the identity I have? Do I have or I don't have? So that really moved me, and I I have the answer, but today's session is not so much about giving answers as it is about raising questions. So maybe I would urge you all to pause for a couple of seconds and think who we truly are. Are we all these labels that we normally ascribe to ourselves, or people ascribe to us, or the media ascribes to us, or are we something beyond that? So I request you to pause for 30 seconds or 1 minute and just think of all the labels that we just discussed about, and see if that is what we truly are. Normally, we let uh, forces outside us or the world outside us to determine our ego, and when we start identifying with these things, we also start comparing ourselves, because if I am identifying myself with the car, then whether my car is bigger than his or her car, or whatever else. And then what is success? So these are norms which are given to us by the school or by the media, that this, if you're living in a big house, driving a big car, having foreign holidays, having education from a particular institution, all of that is what is success. And if you don't have that, you don't have success. So is Lakshmi Narayan Tripathi a success or not a success? So are we living a script which has been given to us by the outside world, or are we, truly aligned with who am I, and then following that? So these are the some questions which come about when we think of ego, and so somebody's father says, you are not good at maths. And the child may not be good at maths compared to what the father is. The father is a Nobel laureate. For anybody else to match up to his standards would be very difficult. But does that make the child bad at maths? The child may be topper in his class, but not up to the father's standards, who's a Nobel laureate. So what happens? But the child forever will live with this philosophy that I am not good at maths, or I am smart compared to whom? Or I am ugly compared to whom? Because the idea of beauty is so subjective. But we all grow up, and I have met so many people who would conventionally look very beautiful, but they think, oh, this is something which is not so right about me. Either I am too tall, or I am too thin, or I am too fair, or I am this, or I am that. There are so many things that we stories we build about ourselves, around ourselves, which just keep feeding the narrative. Nobody likes me, or I'm better than you, and things like that. So there is so much going on, and the interesting part is a lot of these stories would not be there, if we were the only person on the planet. Pause for a couple of seconds and imagine that we are the only individual living on planet Earth. Then how many of these stories would be relevant? Uh, I am good compared to what? I'm good looking, I'm tall, I'm short, I'm thin, I'm fat, I'm fair, I'm dark. Compared to what? No stories. Just before we got on this call, I was hearing a song by Michael Jackson, and the poor guy was so identified with his color that he got his entire skin transplanted. Can you imagine how tormented he must have been by identifying himself as a black? So, to what extent do we torture ourselves basis this identity that we develop for ourselves? Because if we are alone, then what is the identity that we have? So, nothing is absolute. Everything exists in relation to something else, and it is based on the comparisons we make and the things, the how we interpret things. So the process of ego building, one key part of the process of building ego is identification. What do I identify with? And we keep identifying with different things, like we saw 10, 20 things that we identify with. Basically, it's a process wherein we think that I am that, I am same as that. So I'm same as the car I drive, or I'm same as the role I hold, or the company that I work for. So for 25 years when I was in corporate sector, anybody would, if I would have to introduce myself, I am VP with this company. That's my introduction. So I identify so strongly with my role and with my company that I have no other introduction to give. And I just look at that as part of me. And the problem is, these identifications are highly personal, and they can change. So if I change my company, my role changes, my company changes, and there is possibility, given the kind of job losses there are, many people will lose their jobs, and that's the time when they face a terrible loss of identity, because all their life they have looked at them in a particular way, and then when they lose the job, the identity is gone. Or if it could be with a partner, it could be in terms of a bereavement, or any other situation in life where you lose a partner, and suddenly your whole identity, which was there as a husband or wife or as a partner or lover, is gone. So when we identify ourselves with something which is outside us, that's the risk we face. And there is another problem which happens when we identify ourselves with ego, that everything that I am or is like me is fine, but everything which is not like me is is the cause of the problem. So if I am a BJP guy, I would think that 70 years of Congress rule is the root cause of all the problem. And if I am a Congress guy, I would think that everything that is wrong that is happening in the country is because of BJP. If I'm an HR, if in the context of a company, if we were to look at it from the perspective of HR, I may think that all the problems are there is because of the finance people. I'm speaking simplistically, is because of the finance people, because I'm not able to get the increments and the bonuses that I want to give to the employees. And the finance guy may think that the problem is with the marketing and sales guys, because every time when they are selling, they want discounts. Somebody else may think compliance is the issue, because compliance just doesn't want the business to happen. So we are so caught up in our entities that we forget that we are part of a larger entity which is called the company. But we are all doing our own part. So that's a very strong case of identifying with the departments or with the political affiliation, or we may identify very strongly with the role which I play. So if I'm a CXO and I'm talking to a management trainee, and the management trainee may have a very good idea, but I'm thinking that I am the CXO and he's just a newbie. What can he tell me, or what can she tell me about running my company? So how am I communicating? Basis my roles, or it could be relationship. If I'm a husband or a wife, uh, if I'm a husband, I may look at myself as the sole earner or provider of the family. So the whole life I'm toiling to just put food on the table, and I may be putting unnecessary pressure on myself. Or if I am the wife, I may be thinking that I have to please my in-laws, I have to please my children, I have to please my husband, and maybe under the pressure of being liked by all and pleasing everybody. So, these are the roles and the constructs that we play. And, we just live our life basis that. We will talk towards the end of the session how to break those molds and how to break these mindsets to be able to approach life and situations in a free way. And what happens when we does, when we are blocking ourselves with somebody is not on mute, could you please everybody mute themselves? So when I'm thinking of myself in that particular role, I'm blocking everything else that is there. So if I'm just thinking of my particular role, of my particular position, I'm not really thinking of the bigger picture, and then it doesn't help. It blocks the growth. And similarly, there is a mindset about the ruler and the ruled. People who live in Lutyens Delhi and the people who live outside Lutyens Delhi, the people who have and people who don't have. So these are the kind of different roles and the mindsets and the egos states that we get identified with. And we just live our lives kind of trapped in those mindsets. And the other problem that happens is the fear, because like I discussed earlier, I may lose, if I'm identifying myself with the role or with the job or with the car, I may just lose myself. Or if I am in acting business, or I'm in training business, so my voice is very important. So what happens if I lose my voice, God forbid? No business. So if I identify myself with something which is external, or not the true self, then I've always been a fear of what will happen if I lose it. The other thing that happens when we get into a operating out of a limited ego state is that I want to control everything. So parents there are parents who think children are their property. I need to control my children. Or the wife may think husband is my property, husband may think wife is my property, and they treat each other like their property. Or the departmental head may think that this is my property, this department is my property. And yeah, I'm sure we would have seen leaders in our organizations who have had disastrous results because they treat everything, the people and the department, as their property, and not really able to take an evolved view of the situation. Another challenge which happens with the ego state is the wanting more, because if I'm identifying myself with the wealth that I have, so if I'm a millionaire, I would like to have 2 more millions, because then I think I've become better. Because or if I'm a billionaire, I may want to add more billions, because that's the only way I look at myself. Or if I have a car, I may want a bigger car. Or then jealousy also happens, because I'm not looking at myself as same as you, but there is a cosmic perspective of ego, which is that we are all made up of the same atoms and molecules. Everybody who's on the call and outside is made up of the same atoms and molecules. So how are we different? Because I look different, because my gender is different from you, or I live in a different house from you, or I drive a different car from you. At what level do I see me to be different from you, or do I see myself as same as you? If I see you as different from me, then I may be jealous of what you have got or what your children have got. So if my neighbor's daughter gets more marks than my daughter, then I may be jealous. I may think that we are different and we need to be better than each other. So where is my sense of satisfaction, ego, and identity coming from, whether we are same or different. Somebody may get promoted, somebody may get more increments, and then there is defensive behavior. If I'm seeing myself as somebody different and you were to give me a feedback about me, I may be very sensitive to that feedback because I'm seeing you as different. you know uh, Whether I am looking at myself as the trainer and you as the participant, or you become the trainer and I become the learner, how will the learning outcomes be different? They will be very, very different if we were to flip the roles. But then, that's the mindset we need to be in. We need to be conscious. What's the mindset I am operating out of? And by flipping my mindset, can I get different results? Can I get different feedback? And, when we start becoming conscious of the ego states that we are operating out of, we start realizing that what is important, what is truly important for me. And most of the times we are running, following the images of success that have been given to us by the external world, without ever pausing to ask ourselves, what does this really mean to me? And lifetimes are spent chasing those external ideas of success, and at the end of the life, people feel very empty because what was truly meaningful them for them, they never spent time doing that. So an ideal way to would be to identify what we want and then go out with the world with that. That's what the world needs today: people who have clarity in their thinking, and who don't identify themselves with the positions they have or the position they have or how they look. This is a person who completely identifies himself or herself with the position and position. Uh, but once we start becoming mindful, we can observe all these stories and the construct that I'm making in my mind, uh, and act independently. So if I'm a management trainee, or if, will I think like a management trainee, or can I think like the CEO of an organization? If I'm a regional manager, do I think like a regional manager, or can I think like the CEO of the organization? Or if I am the CEO of the organization, do I just restrict myself to this as to my CEO role of this particular company, or do I become a leader of the industry? What's the role? When we start paying attention to our what we identify with, then we become that this is what I identify with me, but I have a choice, and I can play a bigger or larger role if I want to. And that's when some of the movements and shifts in our life start happening. I will pause here for a couple of seconds to see if you have any questions or comments, and then we will get into a short mindfulness exercise. You can unmute yourself and speak, or you can share your comments on the chat. If you're fine so far, you can type F. We will proceed with mindfulness meditation, which will take about 10 minutes. Or if you have any questions, or any comments also. Thanks, Shomita. Thanks for sharing that. Fine. Cyril says fine. How do we work around this? Okay, Shomita. Okay, so it looks like it's fine so far. Let's take a couple of minutes to do a small mindfulness exercise. Please sit comfortably. You could be sitting on the chair or cross-legged on the ground. Close your eyes or look down on the ground in a soft gaze, half closed eyes. Please keep your back and neck straight, chin parallel to the ground, and focus your attention on your breath and observe your breath as it is coming in and as it is going out. In our lives, we have multiple roles that we play, perhaps a wife, a father, a mother, a husband, daughter, doctor, engineer, lawyer, or janitor. Whatever it is, it can consume us literally. It can consume the space of who we truly are and fill that space up with those roles we identify with and believe in heavily. Continue to breathe, breathe in, breathe out. Today, we will do a Who Am I meditation. In this liberating mindfulness exercise today, we will experience letting go of the ego. You may start to realize that who you are is not what you thought you are supposed to be, and that you have a new, simpler purpose. Continue to breathe, breathe in, breathe out. Feel into your identity. How does it feel to play the roles you play in your life? What does your ego identity feel like? Notice the ways in which it feels good to be you. Notice the ways in which this identity feels limiting. For most of us, we feel limited by our ego identity because it holds us back from becoming that great person that we truly are. This can be hard to let go though. By letting go of our false sense of self, or ego, we can direct our ambitions towards more fulfilling goals. As you continue to breathe, ask yourself, who am I? Am I the roles I play in the life? Or am I beyond the roles that I play in life? Do I change as a person if my role changes? Or am I changeless? Observe the thoughts that arise. Breathe in, breathe out. Our ego is that voice inside of us that says, I am superior or inferior. I am deserving or undeserving. I need to prove something for people to like me. I need to achieve something, else I will be a failure. So, would you like to ask this question to yourself? Am I sum total of my achievements? Observe the thoughts that arise. Deep within us, there is a presence of consciousness that cannot be named but can be experienced directly. Know yourself not through the conceptual mind, but through awareness, being aware of itself. Take a deep breath through the nose and just let it go through your mouth. One more time. Breathe in through your nose and exhale through your mouth. You are just becoming aware of your breathing. I may identify myself with the body which has a form, but the breath is unseen, but can be felt. Am I what can be seen, or am I what can be felt? Perhaps some thoughts arise. Just let them arise. Let them go. And return your attention to your breathing. Breathe in, breathe out. As you continue to breathe, notice the emotions that are there. The emotions are unseen but can be felt. Perhaps some thoughts arise. Just let them arise, let them go, and return your attention to your breathing. Simply notice and feel and relax your body. Relaxing your forehead, relaxing your shoulders, your jaw. Relax your entire body. Become aware of your body. Feel your bones on the chair, or in case you are lying down on the mat. Scan your body from head to toe, noticing any tension, tightness, or maybe even pain. Just simply observing it, feeling it, letting go of that label. Ask yourself, who am I? Am I the body? Am I the mind? Am I the life force? Observe the thoughts that arise. Know yourself as that formless dimension. Be in this world, but not of this world. Can dance in this world, play our roles, and then lay them down. We are just here together. When we are at work, we play our role. But when we go home, we are no longer that teacher or engineer or doctor, lawyer or janitor. When we see our true selves non conceptually, we experience that inner happiness, that joy, that peace that passes all understanding. You may continue to sit with your eyes closed for some time, observing your breath as it comes in and goes out. And gently open them when you are ready, taking in the world, the form. Thank you. Whenever you're comfortable, you can open your eyes and share your experience in the chat box or unmute yourself and speak. Thank you, Indrani. Thank you, Shubhashish. Just take a minute or two to close the presentation. So it's having a nice car or not, being attractive or not, accomplishing or not accomplishing things is not problem. It is believing the story in the head that tells you that these things are who we are. That is the problem. And when we look at ourselves different from how I look and what position I have and what I possess, then we open ourselves up to great possibilities because we are not limited by what we have or what we own. Thanks, Piyashi. Thanks, Shomita. Thanks, Manoj. We have come to the end of the presentation. So you can unmute yourself and share question. Uh, Thanks, Cyril.